I think that people feel like confidence comes from finding success without failure. And it's the opposite. Confidence comes from knowing that you can fail and trying anyways. This is the BS4 podcast, and I'm your host, Bria Villa. Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of the BS4 podcast. I'm your host, Bria Villa, and I'm so happy you are here today because we are talking about a topic that has come up so many times. People keep asking me, they're like, when are you going to do this topic? When are you going to talk about it? I'm talking about it. We're in it. We're here. We're talking about it, okay? If you are new here, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure that you check out previous episodes, learn a little bit more about me, the purpose of this pod, become a part of our little community. And if you are returning, thank you so much for coming back. I cannot believe you've tolerated me for this long. I love you. Thank you. Dang, my hair is just getting in my face today, but it's okay. We're going to make it through. So, really excited about today's topic. I feel very inspired because I actually just read a book today, finished a book today that kind of gave me extra inspiration to do this topic. And so I finally was like, you know what? I'm going to write out the outline. I'm going to do it. So here we are. Today, the B is for bad. Today, the B is for bad motherfucker. Today, the B is for being a bad. Yeah, because we're talking about confidence. And this topic may not be what you expect. The way that I talk about confidence may not be what you expect. But it's a really good topic. So I read this book today called On Confidence by the School of Life. And I actually sent it to my brother because I was like, this is something you need to listen to, like absolutely have to listen to. So this book really, great recommendation. Really liked the book. It gave a few tips, pointers of things that I really enjoyed and I wanted to share with y'all. But also some of this is like my own take / some things that I've learned from other people in different podcasts or through research, etc. So today we're going to talk about confidence, and probably not in the way that you think I'm about to talk about confidence. I'm not about to sit here and gas you up and make you feel like I could do da 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 da. We're really gonna like break it down because there is such a misconception around what confidence is. And I have to start by saying none of us know what the we're doing. None of us. Okay? Your favorite celebrity, your favorite CEO, your favorite influencer, your favorite podcaster, hopefully that's me. Every single person that you look at who is a human being has no idea what they're doing. Okay? We are all humans having a human experience and trying to figure it out. There's no one that you will meet who has everything figured out completely. The most confident people that you meet don't know what the hell they're doing. Like the people that you look up to as parents and you're like, you're such a good parent. Like, how did you figure out this parenting thing? I promise you going into it, they didn't know what they were doing. They just figured it out. The people that you look up to who've reached all these accolades, the influencers, the actors, the actresses, all these people literally did not know what they were doing. No one came out the womb knowing every single thing, completely sure of themselves, and were born with this just automatic confident gene. No one. Just so that you know, we're all figuring it out. Like we are literally all humans having a human experience. And every time that a human does something new to them, it is new to them. Whether they've seen someone do it, whether they've been given tools or resources to kind of figure it out, whether they've been shown the ropes, you could have every resource. You could have everything perfectly lined up for you. But if you are doing something for the first time or you are putting yourself out there in a new way, it is still, say it with me, new. Okay? So no one knows what we're doing. Like literally nobody knows what they're doing. So when you're thinking about confidence, you also have to realize that all the people that you view as, oh, they have this figured out, or oh, they're perfect, or oh, they're doing such a good job, or oh, they're so confident, baby, they don't know what they're doing either. They're just like you. So keep that in mind as we talk about confidence today. There's this belief that confidence is something you're just born with, but it's really a skill that you develop over time. And a lot of that is through work, like internal work and discipline and being willing to fail. And so I'm going to get into that in a second. Yes, there's some people who are born with just more outgoing personalities, right? Yes, there's some people who are just very loud and fearless naturally, extroverts, if you will. But I think a common misconception is that that personality archetype is confident, which isn't the case. Like, confidence can also be quiet. Confidence is sureness. Confidence is a knowing. Confidence is a belief system in yourself. It's not always loud. This ideology that people are born confident isn't necessarily true. You may have some traits that may help allow you or make it easier for you to find confidence. But at the end of the day, we're still all human, trying things, failing, trying again, failing, trying again. And that's how you ultimately build confidence. So if you feel like you were not born confident, I promise you, it is something that you can build. Like 100%. So we're going to get into it a little bit more. And I want to start from the beginning. I want to start from the way we were conditioned to believe our role in life. At a young age, as kids, we grow up and we view our parents, and I learned this from the book on confidence, so I have to give credit where it's due, but we view our parents as these powerful figures who can't possibly be like us because we're the child and they're the adults. And they have things figured out and we don't. They do the bills. We don't have to do that. They run the household. We don't have to do that. They cook, they clean. We don't have to do that. We're conditioned to believe that they can't possibly be like us, that the running and jumping around on the couch that we did as kids is not something our parents possibly could have done because they operate in such a different way. And so we get older, and how many of us have realized, and this has been a big realization for me, that every adult is literally just a child that grew up and is figuring it out. Like, there is not a huge difference between adults and children. Like, we all grow up and we're just kind of repeating the same patterns with new problems. Everybody is still figuring it out. And so we're conditioned at a young age, and society teaches us that the people who are more powerful in our lives are very different from us. In reality, they are just like us. They are literally just like us. This ideology or this conditioning sets the tone for power dynamics in our lives and how we believe people in power are better than us, are superior to us, have more skills or abilities or confidence than we do. But they are literally just like us. And so the most powerful people you know, your role models, your heroes, the people that you look up to are actually so much more like you than what you think. You are not that different from them. You're hardly different at all. They're a human who's had experiences that may be slightly different from yours, but the choices they make, the fears that they've overcome, and the times that they failed are very, very similar to you. For example, I have been working in the corporate space for a while, and I do consulting. And so I have met so many people, very big executives, C-level executives, in multi-billion dollar companies. The brands you know and love, I have met a lot of their executive leadership. And you know what's wild to me? The people that are in the rooms making these decisions of these huge brands are so much more like you than what you realize. And if anything, they're nowhere near as impressive as you make them out to be in your head. No shade, no shade. But this pedestal that we put people on, in reality, kind of doesn't exist. Like, yes, they have certain levels of experience. Yes, they have more years, whether it be business acumen or experiences, like I said, that exists, but they are still human. And so I'll never forget, there was a C-level executive in a multi-billion dollar company that I looked up to. I mean, I do look up to them still. But I really looked up to them and I wanted to pick their brain. And I'm like putting them on this pedestal in my mind. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go in there. Like, first, I'm going to ask them. And I was so nervous to ask them. I'm like, I'm going to ask them to get coffee for 30 minutes or meet virtually, whatever makes the most sense for them. Because I'm sure they're so busy and they're not going to have time for me. And so I'm like, I'm going to ask them to meet up so I can pick their brain and ask questions and like get an understanding of their routine and what they do and like just get in front of them to learn more about them. And so I'm so nervous. I'm like, this person is so cool to me. Like they are literally a C-level executive in a multi-billion dollar company. And I'm like gawking over them. I'm like, oh my God, I need to get in front of this person. They're just going to be like a guru, like a plethora of wisdom. And I'm having all these expectations because of all the things they've accomplished and their accolades and their stature and the way people view them and their reputation. And so I'm like, oh my God, I need to get in front of this person. I need to meet them. So I reach out and I'm like, hey, would you be down to meet? I would love to learn more about you, get an understanding of like the way that you do things, et cetera, et cetera. Cool. Yeah, they agree. And I'm like, okay, period. Excited about this. I write out all the things that I want to know. I'm like, okay, ready, excited. I put on my best outfit. I get ready. I'm like saying affirmations to myself in the mirror. I'm trying to come with all the things that I also want to share about myself. That way they get to know me and it's not just me essentially interrogating them. And so I'm getting all prepared for this. And I go and I sit down with them. And it was just not what I thought it was going to be. Again, no shade to them. But I come in and I ask these questions. And their answers to the questions about routine, about discipline, about the trends in the market, about how to navigate, like how to be a good leader, things about their vision. I'm asking these questions. And their responses are things I already know. And the way that they carried themselves, I was like, you've gotten this far just being like this? Again, no shade. I'm not saying that they were like boring or horrible or anything along those lines. They just were the average, I guess. And okay, they were impressive. Let me not say they were average. They were impressive, but honestly, no more impressive than like me. And I say that humbly, but I'm like, the things that you're telling me, I already know. The questions that I'm asking and the way that you're responding to them, I'm already doing those things. Like the aha book that you told me that I need to read, I read 3 years ago. We end up leaving that conversation. I'm giving them book recommendations. I'm giving them podcast recommendations. And they were like, God, you're so knowledgeable. And I'm sitting there like, I thought that I was going to come out of this with my mind blown that I am meeting my hero and someone who is going to just open my eyes to so many things. So I say this humbly, but the reality is I wasn't blown away the way that I thought I would be. And I walked out of that being like, okay, they got to where they are, moving the way they just moved in that conversation, and I'm operating at the same caliber. Now, they have plenty more years of experience than I do. They've probably learned a lot of lessons that I haven't quite learned yet. But the reality is we're not that different. We are not that different. And so I asked them, I was like, okay, how do you gain confidence? How do you gain executive presence? How do you gain a leadership voice? You know what they told me? They said, nah, you just do. You kind of just do it. Like, there's no rule book or magic trick that you can do to be more confident and have the perfect leadership voice and carry this executive presence, other than you just kind of have to do it. And I was sitting there like, so, me showing up every day and doing the things that I'm doing, that idea of just doing it is really what you're doing too. I mean, yeah, the answer was yes. Like, there was nothing more outstanding or that was so far off from what I was doing. And so I share that to say, confidence is built by doing. I think that people feel like confidence comes from finding success without failure. And it's the opposite. Confidence comes from knowing that you can fail and trying anyways. And from failing, learning from it and getting back up. Every major business owner, entrepreneur, successful human being is going to tell you that the lessons they learned from their failures allowed for them to grow that much more. It's so cliche, but it's like you learn more from failing than you do winning. You'll fail 99 times and win on the 100th, and all of those 99 failures will lead you to the confidence to win on the 100th. Like, I know it's cliche, but it's the truth. It is literally the truth. The people who have the most confidence are the people who know that you can fail and try anyways. And that's really it. And so doing this podcast, I know I'm going to fail. I literally said it on my first episode. I'm like, I'm probably going to mess up. I'm probably going to say things that I don't mean or change my opinion on how I feel about something. I know that I'm going to fail, but I'm going to try anyways. And I've honestly gained so much more confidence from my first few episodes to now. I am like so much more in flow and in my element. Like, I can just pick up and go. Versus before, I used to have to sit and like prepare. Because I was like, it has to be perfect. It has to come out perfect. I have to do everything perfect. And the reality is like, just do it. Literally just do it. Like, what is the worst that's going to happen? For real. Like, just do it. And so that leads me to say, question everything but yourself. Question everything. And what I mean by that is the way that we are taught history is that it's a thing of the past. Not something that we are actively writing and doing and creating right now, every day. And I think it's a form of limiting your belief in the power that you hold. You hold so much more power than what you think. Every major event in history, every major change or shift in history has been at the hands of people who believed that they could make change. And when enough people believed it and enough people did the work, the change happened. And whether it was small changes, like local laws in your county or your city or your state, versus big changes, like women's right to vote in the US, or universal health care in other countries, it came at the hands of people who believed that they could have influence and impact in their day-to-day lives. There was nothing different between those people who made those changes and you right now. There is nothing different. You have so much more power than what you think. Question the authority, question the system, question the way society operates, because it can change. We've seen it change. There was a time in history, in the past, that people would literally behead other people in front of crowds of people, and that was normal. Norms change, society changes. And so to think that you can't influence the way things are right now is to not believe in yourself. And confidence comes from believing in yourself and questioning everything. Just because there is one way that you've seen something done doesn't mean it's the only way that that thing can be done. One has one person, one belief system, one company, one book, anything, one thing completely and totally reflected your view, your positioning, your wants, your needs accurately. When? Like, there are always nuances. So don't just take something at face value and accept it as truth. You have the power to change. You have the power to influence. You have the power to make a difference. Confidence comes from believing in yourself, trusting yourself, and questioning everything. And so don't just take things for what they are, dig. Don't just accept things as, oh, that's just how it is. If you don't like it, you can do something about it. You can. And I'm not saying it would be easy. And depending on what it is, different levels of hard, but you can make a difference. You have so much more power than what you think. Ultimately, you have to trust yourself. You have to trust that you know what's best for you, that you know yourself better than anybody knows you. You are the only person who has lived with you here in your head your entire life. You know your thoughts, you know your desires, you know your skill set, you know your competence. There are things within you that you know better than anybody else knows. Trust yourself. Literally trust yourself. Don't trust when people tell you, oh, you shouldn't do that because based on what I've seen, probably not something that you would excel at. But if you feel deep down that it's something you could excel at, don't listen to that person. Don't listen to them. Trust yourself first and foremost. And that's where confidence comes from. Like, you have to trust that if you fail, and you will, okay, you're going to fail. Trust that if you fail and when you fail, that you will pick yourself up. You have gotten through every single hard day that life has thrown at you. If you are listening to this right now, there is nothing that has come for you in one, because you are still standing, you are still here, you are still showing up. There is nothing that has been sent to you that's defeated you. So why do you not trust yourself? You've gotten through everything. Literally everything that's ever been difficult in your life, you have gotten through. There's nobody that you should trust more than God and yourself, period. So confidence comes from trusting yourself, trusting the fact that if things don't work out, if things don't go as you plan them to, you'll figure it out. You always have. Self-compassion stabilizes confidence. For example, if you watch your kid, if you're a parent and you watch your kid try super, super hard at something and they don't do it right, they fail. Or maybe you're not a parent and you watch your best friend try really hard at something and they fail, they don't do it right. Or you watch your loved one try really hard at something, they fail, they don't do it right. What do? If you're an asshole, then you're like, haha, funny, dumbass. But that would be an asshole move. If you have any level of compassion, you're watching your kid, you're watching your friend, you're watching your loved one, and you're saying, great job for trying. Like, you really tried. And I know it didn't work out the way that you wanted it to, but it's going to be okay. You're going to get back up and you're going to do it again. And you're going to try again, or you're going to try something else that's more aligned to you, right? So have that same compassion for yourself. When you fail, be like, you know what? I tried my best. It didn't work out the way I wanted it to work out. Here were the lessons learned. It's okay. I'll be okay. Let's do this again. Let's try this again. Like, the compassion that you give others should also be the compassion that you give yourself. And confidence comes from that. It lays the foundation. The self-compassion lays the foundation for you to gain confidence, to be confident. So like I said, trusting yourself isn't saying, oh, I'm not going to fail at this. Trusting yourself is saying, if I fail at this, I'll be okay and I'll know how to move forward. I'll know how to keep going. That's what confidence is. Confidence is recognizing that things will work out no matter what. They will work out no matter what. We all, every single one of us, does stupid, dumb shit. We're humans. Like, I've done 1,000,001 embarrassing things. So embarrassing. And guess what? So has everybody else. We're all a bunch of idiots just doing dumb things. Like, we're great, we're loving, we're incredible beings that do dumb things because humans are dumb. Like we overthink things, we stumble, we mess up. That is a part of the human condition. There is not a single person on this planet who is exempt from that experience. Your biggest heroes, the people you look up to, they've all done dumb things, okay? They've all made a mistake, they've all went to kiss someone and the person dubbed them, or they talked to someone and they had food in between their teeth, or they threw out an idea in a meeting and it got shut down, or they presented something to an investor and the investor was like, this is a stupid idea. Like everybody has gone through something like that. We are humans. So know that you are not alone. And when you start kind of approaching life of like, if I make a mistake, it's okay because every single person in the room that I just made a mistake in front of has also made a mistake. You gain more confidence. You start showing up in the rooms differently because it's like, you are actually not that different from me. You really aren't. Like, you may have a degree, you may have an experience, you may have this, you may have that, but there's also things that I have that you don't. If there are things that you have that I don't, there's also things that I have that you don't. We are not that different. So confidence comes from knowing like everybody is human. See them as such. See yourself as such. Know that you're going to fail. Trust yourself and keep going. That's where confidence comes from. And so a story for y'all. I was asked a few years ago to speak at a conference. I knew the attendees would be around 4,000 people. It was my first public speaking engagement. When I was asked to speak at this conference, they were like, we just, feel like you'd be the right person for it. The thing that you're talking about is really aligned with you, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm sitting there like, of course, imposter syndrome kicks in and I'm like, me? Are you sure? Like the most people I've ever spoken in front of is like 200 people. Y'all want me to speak in front of 4,000 people? Of course, in my head, I'm trying to play it cool. I'm trying to play it calm, collected. I'm like, yeah, I got this for sure. Thank you, whatever. I remember when they asked me, I went home that night, I said, what the f am I doing? How the f can I do this? In front of all these people? I've never done no shit like this before in my life. And it's so wild because, of course, I spent tons of time preparing. I wrote out the speech, practiced it in the mirror, practiced it around my house, was talking to myself all the time, memorizing like a crazy person, etc. And the whole time I'm sitting there like, oh my God, like I just don't want people to realize that this is my first time ever speaking in front of this many people. Like I have to be so confident. Like I felt like I was literally preparing like as if I was about to be on a TV show or something. Like I was putting so much pressure on myself and I was like, I cannot mess this up. Like I cannot mess this up. And all this preparing. And so while I had confidence that I'd be able to do it, of course, I'm still doubting myself, questioning myself, asking myself, okay, well, what if I fail? And then I kept saying, okay, well, if I fail, people laugh, people forget about it, life goes on. Like, what's the worst that happens? And like, of course, yeah, like it could be so embarrassing. But I also was like, but what if I do well? Like, what will that mean to me? What will that mean to other people? Like, what am I going to learn from this, etc. So days leading up to it, etc. I'm like so nervous. I'm so nervous. People are like, hey, do you want to hang out today? No, I have to prepare. Hey, do you want to do? No, I have to. Like, I was getting so in my head, but I'm not trying to also let people see that because I'm like, this is my first opportunity. Like, I have to do well. I can't show people that I'm nervous, etc., etc. So the day finally comes. I'm getting ready. I'm preparing. I'm like, well, shit. I'm as ready as I'll ever be. Like, let's just rock out and see what happens. And I remember standing behind that stage and I'm so nervous. And I'm looking at all the other speakers who have spoken at conferences with this many people 10 times, 20 times, way more times than I have. And they're all acting just like I am. Every single one of them, no matter how many times they've done it, no matter how much experience they have, they are all just as nervous as me. They're pacing backstage. They're talking to themselves in a corner. They're like getting frustrated when they forget a line. Like everyone is doing the same thing that I'm doing. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, the people who have been doing this are just as nervous as me. You would think that they're so confident when in reality, they're human too. And they still got to get in front of 4,000 people and rock this shit. And so you know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get in front of 4,000 people and I'm going to rock this shit. Whatever comes out of it, I don't even care. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. They're nervous and they've done it 20 times. This is my first time, and I'm gonna make it seem like it's my 10th, 15th, 20th. It don't even matter. If people think it's my first time, it's because it is. But you know what? I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna be my full authentic self, and I'm going to rock this shit. So what I do, I walk up on that stage, I blacked out. I don't even remember like half the things I said. I don't even remember majority of the speech. But I remember coming off that stage afterwards, and like it was the moment the light switched on and I started walking up that ramp, nerves went away. And I was like, trust yourself. Trust yourself that you can do this. Trust yourself that if you fail, you'll recover. Like you got this. Nerves went out the window. So I get on stage, I'm seeing all these people, I'm hearing the noise. I forget my first line. And guess what? No one even knew. My opening line to a speech that I have been practicing for literally like 2 months. I forgot it. And I skipped over the first line and went to the second line. No one knew. No one knew and no one cared. And I come off that stage and I walk off. The speech is over. People are cheering. It went great. And I come backstage and someone who has literally done that like 15 times comes up to me and says, "You were so confident." And he was like, "That was your first time speaking in front of that many people?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I forgot my first line." And he goes, "You what?" And he was like, "You walked up there so confident, you looked like you were ready to kick someone's teeth in." I swear to God, he said this. He was like, "That was so impressive." And then he goes, "You make all of us who've been doing this for a while look so boring compared to the energy that you just had. You were a tough act to follow." Did I do that speech perfectly? No. I watched that speech back and there are so many things that I could have done better. There are very clear moments where I needed more speech coaching, where body language needed to be adjusted, etc. And I promise you that all of those things, no one else probably even noticed, unless you are someone who literally studies that for a living. That was a few years ago. To this day, I still have people say, "I'll never forget your conference speech." And that's not to toot my own horn. It's just to show that you don't need the experience. You don't need to be ready. You don't need to have everything perfect to just do it. And doing it will give you the confidence. Confidence, like I said, doesn't come from being perfect and not failing. It actually comes from knowing that you could fail and that you'll pick yourself up if you do. So I highly recommend reading the book on confidence. I also recommend reading books by Brené Brown because she talks about vulnerability leading to confidence. I also recommend Mel Robbins always because she talks a lot about confidence on her podcast. And also Nathaniel Braden says that self-trust is the foundation of confidence. So check all those people out, learn more about them and their studies and their research and what they say about it. But I'm here to tell you that confidence isn't arriving at perfection. It is accepting who you are today as you are and trusting yourself. Because the reality is everyone is winging it. Everyone is winging it. And it's okay if you are too. So the real flex isn't being the most certain. It's being the most brave. Confidence is bravery, is taking risks, and is picking yourself up if you fail. That is confidence. Because to be honest, there are a lot of people who have all the skills, who have all the accolades, who have all the experience, and still aren't confident because they don't believe in themselves, they don't trust in themselves, they feel like they need to be perfect and that they can't fail. We are all so much more alike than what we think. The people that you aspire to be like, the people who are your role models are not that much different than you. You have in you what they also have in them, and you can do anything that you put your mind to. So confidence is something that you build. It's not something that you're just born with. It is something that you build. And some days you may be more confident than others, but it is your willingness to try and show up that will keep working that confidence muscle. So I hope you took something away from today. I know that it can be intimidating, it can be scary, it can be hard to put yourself out there, but what is the worst that can happen? You got this, you're gonna do great. I know that coming out of this, you may be able to take a few tips, tricks to be more confident. So I'm sending you all my love. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Make sure that you share with a friend. Make sure you rate the podcast and leave a review, whether it's on Spotify or whether it's on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. It would mean a lot to me. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to do this and build my confidence. I am so appreciative of every single one of you. I'm sending you all my love. I hope you have a great week, and make sure you tune in next week because we're going to have more. Bye.